Welcome back to a Brutal Europa playthrough, episode 6. In the last episode, we saved our potatoes and stabilized the room temperature down to 32. And while our potatoes are growing, the next things on the list is two things. To expand the base out a little bit to drop the pressure and give a little more room. And then go ahead and upgrade all the printers to tier 2, and that includes building and upgrading a tool printer, so we'll have the full set. Looking at the actual furnace temperature here, and hopefully this time I'll remember to turn it off. And it's off. And into the previous episode, we went ahead and hydrated and ate. And out we go. I think the first thing we need is some more lockers. So we'll build 2, and now we have the stacker. So they won't go flying into the input of the other printer anymore. And we'll build 2 of these. And there's certain things you tend to use a lot of, and so what I should probably do is get a big chunk of, or a set chunk of iron and go ahead and just build a bunch of lockers and store the extras. Alright, so now I'm finally going to start storing frozen stuff in a locker. And they all seemed happy. And we'll store it. Basically, I'm trying to clean out my inventory before I do a mining run here. So what I need is nickel. I don't have enough nickel, and I need nickel to make Constantin, and I need that to upgrade my printers. So it's sort of a step-by-step process. So we have an empty inventory, and now we're just going to look for nickel. Of course, or a bunch of nickel. I've seen it before, I just sort of ignored it. I think I got a little bit at one point, but we need a big chunk of it here. I'm going to speed this section up. And found silver, and I'll be needing that, so let's go to town on the silver. So the general plan is that this episode I'll expand the base, and that's useful for when the potatoes finally go to seed and generate potatoes. I'll be able to go to 12 hydroponic units, and found some nickel, and then upgrade all the tool printers. And then in the next episode I am going to make Invar. That's the next priority. With Invar I can build a heavy mining tool, which greatly speeds up the mining. Well, it did a year ago when I last played, and I assume it's still the same big advantage there. So once you have that, that'll be a big improvement there, because we're spending more and more time mining at this point. Also, I'll be able to upgrade my mining belt to the Mark II and update my tool belt to the Mark II. I can actually do that now. I'll actually do it in the next beginning of next episode with the upgraded tool printer. Yeah, I'm not using the new key thing. I kind of put things in a certain order. Let's zip this through a little bit. Yeah, the two lockers don't really line up. So. Okay. Come in here to check the room. It's a little warm, so we'll just open that up, and yeah, that's working out quite well. As long as I keep coming here and coming in every now and then and checking it, so we can keep up with a little bit of heat being generated. Kind of wait for it to click down to 30. There's 30. Okay. Turned it off. And back out we go. Cooling is actually much easier on Europa than the moon. I actually find the moon more difficult to play. Because like that little valve thing I have set up, that doesn't work on the moon. Because there's nothing on the outside, there's no gas. So you have to set up radiators, and you have to move your gas from your building into the pipes that are sitting outside on radiators. And if you just close the valve, they'll keep cooling and turning into and they'll freeze and blow the pipes. So then I had to go ahead and, instead of closing the valve, I just pump all the gas out so it turns into a vacuum. So it requires all this stuff and logic to run it all to do cooling on the moon. So here I just need a digital valve and internal sensor, and just, you know, open and close the valve based on the temperature range. Pretty straightforward. It's always kind of funny that, at least in my opinion, the moon was designed to be like the beginner intro, but I've always found the moon the most found it difficult to play because of the vacuum. Now I think before, when there's a lot of things you could choose, like for example, you could have a furnace that never cools down and a vacuum and things like that, it might have been easier, but I think at this point it becomes more difficult. I think for a beginner, I think what Mars might be a better shot. Now, unfortunately, Mars, you have the storm that comes in, so you got to deal with that. Okay, let's heat this. Now we're gonna make. Let's see, what do we need here? Okay, so this is very easy. I should have made this earlier. We just need 1000 Kelvin or higher, and 20 megapascals or higher. And so that's a lot of slop in there, and you just load it up. So there's no reason not to make Constantine early game. Obviously, you got to be able to find the nickel for it, and we'll just toss it all in there. And not sure I have any more nickel. If I have more nickel in there, I should go ahead and toss it all in. But yep. Reading my own mind here. Miles make a much. Don't need nickel for anything else until the advanced stuff. And we just keep heating it, so this is a piece of cake. The only danger you had if you go a little crazy and toss way too much in there, then your furnace blows up, which is a bad thing. All right, we got a whole bunch of stuff. Perfect. Now we throw this in. Now we can start cranking out mods. Yeah, I think the first mod goes in. Yeah, electronic printer gets the first mod, which upgrades the electronic printer to tier 2, and with that we can create mods for the other printers. Keep this going. So we just need copper and nickel. Should probably look everything else on my shelf there and smelt all that out while it's super hot. At least the basic stuff. It will zip through the smelting routine and sort of montage here. You need like a little, some kind of song playing, but unfortunately probably hit by copyright. So zip, zip, zip. All right, printer mod. Take a while to print though. Yeah, nice and warm. Just don't have a lot of control. Especially if you got to make in bar. So while we're printing that, we go ahead and you know, we'll replace the filter we have at 0. And we're going to throw that into the furnace, shift this around. We also go ahead and make our tool printer finally and have that. I'm trying to think what else to print over here. I guess I'm going to do steel. This is back related to the base expansion. Okay, so I have this weird thing. There's the steel walls and then the steel flat walls. And I use the walls for windows, because I like how they look. And then I use the flat walls or flat surfaces because I like how they look. I don't like the padded wall look. Oh, one thing I got a little confused on, or thought it might work, but it doesn't. So if you have a lander, which means you're not playing on brutal, if you have a lander, then apparently your tracker will lock into the lander. The lander is effectively a permanent beacon. But on brutal, you don't have a lander, and it doesn't work with the little landing pod or little emergency escape pod. There's a cobalt. Go ahead and mine all this out. Basically, we were printing, so while that print's going, if I was, instead of staring at the printer, I'll do something useful. I mean, it's not that big of a deal once you get a little practice using the coordinate system for the tracker to locate the base. We'll create a beacon at some point. And not the portal one, but the fixed one. It's on the list. I have 2 lists, things I have to do now and things that I get bored or I'm stuck or something like that. I can make, and the beacon's on the, you know, nice to have if I... Oh, more silver. That's wonderful. Yeah, at some point I'll pull out the ore tracker and wander around, look for big blobs of whatever, and then just drill down. I wonder if I can make the... I look up what I need for the color ore scanner. I'm not sure what that requires, if that requires the exotic stuff or just the you know, the basic type, or the basic alloys, we'll call it. Tier 1 alloys. All right, we have a okay, so we just need that. It's been a while since I upgraded the printer. It's been over a year. All right, so we take that and a screwdriver, and boom. Should have done this before. So this is another milestone. So making steel is a big milestone. Making that station battery is another milestone. But getting that first printer mod done is another big milestone. Because besides the speed improvement, which is very nice, it provides for a lot larger selection of items. So now we're gonna make that, finally make that tool printer. See if we can milk a few things while it's hot. I'm not gonna do that much smelting, so we'll just leave it at normal speed here. And that floating ingot is still. I'm trying to think. I think I was like that for a while now. Okay. Okay, there's our walls, which we use for windows. Still printing. Now we do the other mods. And while we're doing that, we'll play sort the ore. I do this a lot. I play sort the ore a lot. We'll zip through this a little bit. Actually, I can't wait till the next episode. I haven't recorded the next episode yet. So I'm basically caught up now with the previous stuff I've done. And get that advanced furnace going. And make some Invar. Make the heavy printer. And the... oh, I can also make the arc welder with the Invar. That's the other thing I can make. So, all right, let's crank all that out. Yeah, I'm disappointed we don't have that big gush of air flowing out of there, blowing me halfway across the map. Maybe if I got closer to it, I would get hit with it more. Okay, we got a tool printer. Go ahead and upgrade this guy, and that's it. We're going to upgrade them all and be done with that. Also, I'm going to make some more stackers. So I typically put stackers on everything but the tool printer. So I wanted to put it there. I typically have them all lined up, but I didn't want to move the furnace, and so I decided, well, we'll just stick it over here. I don't use it as much. There's not much cabling involved, and need to grab some steel sheets. I think some of the stuff is inside. Where's the? I think it's all in the other locker. Has the iron and the plastic. I mean, I need a lot more plastic sheets anyway, so yeah, there they are. Because when I put in the windows in, I need the plastic for that, and also more glass. Trying to stop it right so it's not on a fraction. You know, not like that fraction of ingot's going to really make a difference. I mean, that's, I don't know why I bother, to tell you the truth. I shouldn't worry about it. And grab some steel for that one. Oops. All right, we're getting somewhere now. What is it, day 15? Actually, day 16. When I edit this, the screen is a bit smaller than the recorded because I have all the other video editing stuff around it. So sometimes it's hard to see that the day, especially when the day is sitting over the character, they should probably darken that background a little bit more so it doesn't blend in with the character. Okay, we'll crank out that mod. Yeah, and we get the exotic alloys. We can make a nuclear battery. That should last a bit longer. Finally make some paint. Painting my tanks are also on the idle list. Plus making a getting a smart canister for my O2 and pump that sucker way up. Although I don't tend to go through a lot of O2 that quickly, so that's really not that big of a deal. Bigger deal on Venus and Vulcan. All right. Let's wait for that last mod to print. So I scan over and I'm grabbing the fractional silicon ingots first, leaving the 50s up there. I'll need those for exotics. Or super alloys, I'm not sure what they actually call them. Or I forgot what they call them. I can look it up in the Stationepedia. I guess while we're printing, we'll wander around. Oh, so what happened here is I thought I finished printing the tool mod. And I go, where is it? I printed it, didn't I? And what happened was when I connected the tool printer, it interrupted the cable and it stopped the print. And so that's why I went wandering off into the dust, in the dark there, looking for the mod. And I realized what happened was I interrupted the print when I did that. So that's still a thing. Okay, so I'm grabbing the things I'll need for base expansion. Yeah, my technique for base expansion is pretty much the same as always. I'll just build out a new area. I'll stick an active vent in there, passive vent outside. And I'll run the cabling to inside, so I don't actually finish the cabling until I get everything set up, and I'll flip it the right direction, hopefully, and turn it on, and then just come back in here and wire it, and that'll create a vacuum in that space, and that way I don't bring in that air into here. So we're at 30, so we're doing good in the temp. So we dodged that bullet. Yeah, getting a water fountain is also on my list of things. Probably going to be in a new base. I'm considering, well, I at some point I just need to build out a whole new base next to this one. Or maybe on top of it, above it. And then move everything over and set that up a lot better. Put a much, huge greenhouse and all that stuff. And we'll turn that off. Yeah, with those two radiators, it definitely cools much faster. Yeah, another thing is wireless batteries. And so I don't do my tools and whatnot, which are only used locally, and etc., etc. Yeah, there's a long list of things to be done. Okay, so that's 30 Celsius. So, okay, so the furnace was not adding more heat. So at least we're done with that problem. And my suit looks good. Why not? Oh, there's our mod. And voila. We have all 4 printers. Well, there's actually more printers, a rocket printer and a security printer and nothing like that. But we have the 4 basic printers and they're all upgraded. And let's go ahead and create stackers for pipe bender and electronic printer. Electronic printer is very useful because of printing all those silly cables out. And we had a chute from last time that we didn't use. I don't know why I was thinking I need 2 chutes for. I only need 1 chute per printer. That prints pretty fast. And save a little power. And we'll bop that in and bop that in. Yeah, I have a hard time reading that yellow sometimes. Okay. I mean, it's a pretty simple thing to disassemble if you need to. So now it's all lined up. We'll drop both those in there. Clean up this cabling a little bit. I don't think I'm going to use that furnace ever again. Pop that and that one. Okay, and now we have to make sure we set them all to 50. I remember one time I forgot to do this in the old episodes. I started to print and it started just shooting out cables or whatever it was all over the place. And I go, uh-oh, forgot to set it to 50. Oh, I thought about getting some, also on the list, is build some portable lights to help with the lighting inside temporarily until I get some fixed lights in there. They're pretty cheap, and you need the batteries for them, but they'll be a good use for wireless batteries. This. Now I made it 4 wide, and I did it for a weird reason. So I want to put lights, start mounting lights on the ceiling, and it was 3, and I don't want to have the wires visible through the glass. I want to run the wiring through the edges, and it kind of worked out better if it's 4 across for the lighting. So I can run the the wire down the center and have a light on either side of that. So it's all hidden within the window edges. And that one I built inside because well, I didn't really have to. I thought I might put a frame there, but it doesn't really matter, I guess. And so I built 4 wide. I didn't keep on going because I don't want to drop the pressure too much. I'm not sure how much this will drop it. Now we'll put all this in. zippity doo. Yeah, there's another technique where you put the plastic in one hand and the glass in the other hand. You kind of flip back and forth. Now that one window, that one opening, I leave open so I can get in and out for now. All right, so we need another active vent, and we'll create some pipes and a passive vent. We have extra passive vents inside the greenhouse room, but you can always use an extra. Need some gold. Ah, perfect. But we can always use an extra passive vent and all that. Let's create a passive vent because we're just creating a vacuum, so we don't really care if it's insulated. It's sitting outside anyway, so it doesn't really matter if it's insulated or not. Now it doesn't have to be insulated, but at this point, you know, I'm just going to create insulated pipes from now on. That way I can reuse them for things. You can also do that adhesive wrap and update from a normal pipe to a insulated pipe. That's a really nice feature too, because before you had to rip out all the old pipes and put new pipes in. Now you just upgrade them in place. You guys ever get bored, go and find like one of the oldest Stationeers series, like a really old one, and it's a whole different ball game back then. You can watch it, and all the stuff they made improvements of over the years. Okay, so I do flip it on to make sure it's not actually active. All right, so we make sure it's turned on. I checked it, so there's no. Now we just need to go through here. Put that on there. It's all sealed up. And now we're going to have another test. For those paying attention, I made a mistake. And we will figure out what the mistake is. And more cables. Down to 3, so I figured I'd make a bunch more cables. And we'll zip through staring at a printer. And we're done. Let's make sure everything's turned off. Right now I think we got a lot of excess power, but no reason to start bad habits. At some point you get upgrade the power system, you just leave everything turned on, doesn't matter anymore. We're not quite there yet, I don't think. Okay, what did I do wrong? And have you figured it out yet? I'll give you a hint. I'm going to hear a really weird noise now. I hope it comes through the video. And so I'm starting to look around. Yeah, did you guess what I did wrong? Yeah, there's a hint. The hint's in my hand. Also, when I increase the size of this room, that'll drop. Besides, when it drops the pressure, it makes leaving the room much faster because it's lower pressure of air. Yep. I forgot to put the vent on the outside. You know, I as I remember, these, when you overpressurize a pipe, they would take longer. They'll say a damage rate, but it seemed like the rate was much smaller back then, or maybe I just threw so much pressure in there. But it seemed like you had time before it actually blew, and it seemed like they made it faster based on the old days. But maybe it was only a small pipe and with a lot of gas blowing in there. Double checking all the switches, make sure we don't rush this and do something even worse. Now we're going to do this again, this time with feeling. All right, so now we're just letting that pump out. I don't, I let it run for a while. I guess I don't put a sensor or anything near so I can kind of measure. I could put a atmosphere sense tablet on analyzer on the piece of the pipe on the outside, but it runs long enough. Most bulk of the gas will be out of there. And if there's a little bit, remaining, it doesn't really matter since it's just O2. If it's actually something bad, and I really don't want it in the room, I will check that pipe to make sure it's a vacuum before I open it up. But we're just going to rush off and do a little mining while we're waiting for that to create a vacuum. I'm just going to go look at it, and it's still. Those active vents also seem to really cook now. I'm just looking around seeing any flow of gas, because if I left out a window or something like that, you see the flow of air pulling into it. So it looks good. Didn't miss anything. I like to walk the roof because if I miss something, I just fall in. All right, let's do some mining. I'm not looking for anything particular, just, I got a little dead time, so I'm going to go ahead and do some mining now. I forgot I could make a mining belt and a tool belt, but we'll do that next episode. And there's a lot of volatiles there. Going crazy with the volatiles. Now I know I can store them in the locker without a problem. I'll just grab a bunch. Since I'm right here, I'll empty it out. I did kind of remember what direction I was flowing. And we're back. Might need a locker here. Okay, that doesn't match up. The oxide next to the ice. And throw that down here, and we should be good on all that stuff for now. Okay, we can disconnect that. We definitely want to disconnect that. You want to disconnect that, because if you don't disconnect it, then when I open this up, that's not going to be good. I'll definitely get lower pressure in this room. And go for it. Yep, I don't. Room temperature didn't. So the gas is flowing in. Well, that's to be expected. And we're not seeing any temperature change, so. Being real careful here, just the right stuff, Kind of wait, make sure it's on the right thing. Cool. So now I have room to expand the hydroponics in my direction. I can add 2 more rows there pretty easily. I might put another light in there, but that's not a big deal. And we don't need this anymore. And use a wrench carefully. Come on, do a little cleanup here. Looking for anything that should go outside. You can argue some of that piping should probably go outside. I'll do that. All right, we're getting close to the end of this episode, so I'm going to spend the remaining time getting ready for the next one. So we'll go ahead and empty the waste tank and top off the O2 tank and have the suit off so we clean up any hygiene issues. I'll go ahead and eat, drink. And so, yeah. That portable light be useful right about now. I can stick that in here. That's another good thing to have. A couple portable lights. They're real cheap to make. And they can move around to these dark spots real easily. Something for a future run. Actually, might create them next episode and drop them in here. Crank it up. Oh, in the last episode, for that little bit of code I wrote, there is a link in the description for that code. So anytime I write code, I will put a link where you can get that code. The code will be stored on GitHub, and I'll have a raw link to it. You can go to it. I do have a bunch of scripts from my old videos from last year. I don't know if they still work or not based on changes, so I have not tested those yet. They may or may not work. When I get to the point where I need them, I'll just check them then and make sure they still work. All right. We're looking good here, and next episode we're going to create our advanced furnace and get cooking here. Until next time, see ya.